see. No more counting calories, just living free. Robert Ferguson's got the plan you need. With diet-free life, it's the key. No more starving, getting rid of inflammation. Choosing healthy choices, providing you with sound information. Bringing balance to hormones and insulin through food. With DFL, teaching you food choices to see you through. DFL, we're teaching you to eat food right. Teaching you to pair food with each bite. Balancing our body's microbiome, feeling so right. With diet-free life, it helps futures lose pride.
Hello, hello, hello. This is Robert Ferguson. I want to say thank you for being here at this presentation where we're talking about food as medicine with a specific focus on something that every person, and I'm going to stress this, every person that you and I know that live in the United States of America or Canada will benefit from what I'm going to share with you today. And I would say that this is one of the most important sharings that I've ever done because it was a surprise to me, and it continues to be a surprise to me on what I am discovering as it pertains to optimizing personal health, your personal health, your family's personal health, people that you care about, people that you love. We're talking about everyone's personal health. And I'm sure at times as I share information with you, it may sound a little bit of, let's say, a conspiracy, but it's not. It is the truth. It's factual. And you can go research and look it up, and you will see for yourself that everything that I'm sharing is real. And I'm not going to go too deep into the science of what I'm sharing today, but I want to give you enough data and information so that you can now be informed and then put yourself in a position where you can optimize your personal health. And when I say personal health, I'm talking about everything from hypertension to dry skin, brittle nails, eczema, psoriasis, various skin conditions. I'm talking about your joints. I'm talking about your energy, your ability to hang on to like skeletal muscle, your ability to maximize your opportunities to lose fat when that is the goal. I'm talking about something that also ties into insulin resistance and specifically, and trust me, inflammation, because inflammation is the foundation for many of the health challenges that people are dealing with on a regular basis. And if you notice, it's not getting any better. It continues to get worse. Now, the good news is that I am going to share with you something that is very clear to me. And every physician I've put this in front of, every scholar, scientist, biologist, researcher that I've shared this data with, they've all welcomed it with open arms. And the main reason why they welcome it with open arms is because it makes sense. And in a short period of time, everyone who experiences this discovered that it actually works. I'm talking about kids speaking for the first time. They're autistic, and all of a sudden, after learning what you're about to learn, those kids are sharing words. I'm talking about one of my clients right now, mom, has dementia really bad. And because of what you're about to learn, it's almost like we're reversing it. She's speaking completely different. She seems to have much better cognitive skills. I mean, it's blowing the family away. And all of this has to do with this thing we call a deficiency of omega-3 fatty acids. Now, some of this will be new information. Some of it will be information that you already know. But somewhere in our share today, my goal is to help connect the dots and put you in a position where you can do something about it. Because there are people right now with Hashimoto's, vertigo, they have all these different health conditions, and the only thing being addressed is the effects of these conditions. They're not looking at the root cause for them. And what we're going to talk about today is speaking to the root cause, and it really does dive deeply into this thing called omega-3, fatty acids, and polyphenols. Now, you're going to learn about both of those as we spend time together. But I want to get the ball rolling. And if you have questions, please keep your questions toward the end. I will answer them. Also, if you want to contact me directly, you can go into the chat, the private chat area at the very top. If you scroll up, if other people comment there, you should see my email. And if you don't see it, let me mention it now, and I'll mention it a few times. But my direct email for your questions, and if you want to learn more and be involved, is Robert, Robert, at dietfreelife.com. Now, I haven't done much to be sweating already, but it's hot. Okay. It is hot. Now, a little background for those of you who don't know me or you're learning about me for the very first time. I'm a nutritionist. I've been in the space of helping people with nutrition and weight loss, metabolic conditions, getting people off medications, helping people lose weight, and doing it in a way where they don't feel like they're on a diet. Doing it in a way where they're using regular everyday foods to get these amazing outcomes. We've helped people, I mean, not like 5 people, we're talking thousands of people, completely reverse their type 2 diabetes. And the list goes on and on. And in my 29, almost 30 years experience in the space of doing what I do, for the first time in my life, I have come across a product that actually is something every person, literally, every person that you know, to include yourself, would benefit from. And I am confident that in the next 20 minutes, you will have a better understanding of why I can say with such confidence that this is something that can benefit you now and for the rest of your life. Okay? So I brought in a little presentation. And what I want to do is I want to get the ball started by playing a little video. And I want you to take notes on the video. Just pay close attention because it's the setup to everything that we're going to talk about. And it's a friend of mine. His name is Dr. Andrew Wild. Dr. Andrew Wild is an internal medicine guru. He's known all over the world. He's written tons of books. He's been published multiple times. And he's going to speak about this thing called omega-3. He's also going to talk about this thing called omega-6, which I'm going to go into. And you will hear him say that this is one of the biggest challenges that we're faced with on this planet, is getting enough omega-3. So let's hear what Dr. Wild has to say. I'll comment on it, and then we'll dive right in. Okay, here we go.
Probably the most significant nutritional deficiency in this population is omega-3 fatty acids. The amount of research accruing on the health benefits of omega-3 fatty acids is overwhelming, not just for physical health, but for mental health. I think you can't be in optimum health if you do not have adequate intake of omega-3s. Most of us are not getting enough. And the further problem is that, there are these 2 classes of what are called essential fatty acids, meaning we have to have them. They're the omega-3s and omega-6s. The omega-6s are common in the food supply. They're in seeds and nuts and oils extracted from seeds and nuts. We need both of these oils in our diet, both of these classes of oils. They have, in general, opposite effects. Omega-6s increase inflammation. Omega-3s decrease inflammation. Omega-6s increase the tendency of the blood to clot. Omega-3s decrease the tendency of the blood to clot. But we need both of these in the right amount. The problem is that we in this part of the world are eating vast excesses of omega-6s and not enough omega-3s. And this is one of the, I think, main dietary reasons why people here go through life in a pro-inflammatory state. And this is a major thing you want to look at in your own diet. The omega-6 overload that we eat is primarily the result of the flooding of our diets beginning in the 1920s with refined soybean oil. Refined soybean oil, like high fructose corn syrup, has become the universal fat that's added to processed and manufactured food. And the reason for that, it's the same thing. It's cheap. It's cheap because the federal government subsidizes soybeans. You know, soy is one of the 5 crops that heavy federal subsidies are given to. So we've artificially driven down the price of that, and that has caused this huge increase in consumption of omega-6 fatty acids, which is really, really bad for us. So what you want to do in your own diet is to think about how you can reduce consumption of omega-6 fatty acids while increasing consumption of omega-3s. Again, the simplest way to do that is to eliminate refined, processed, and manufactured foods, because that's the main source of it.
Well, he said a lot. And a big part of what he just shared touches on the fact that companies are making a ton of money by pushing these soybean oils, these seed oils onto us. And it's in everything. I mean, people are taking vitamin D. Go look at your vitamin D3, and you'll probably see that there's a fat in there, and it's soybean oil. Go look at your mayonnaise, and you'll see that one of the first ingredients will be soybean oil. So all of those oils fall into the world of what we call omega-6. We're getting way more omega-6 than we need. But if you avoid omega-6, that still is not going to fix the problem, because we're not getting enough omega-3. And omega-3 fatty acids has been, in medical history, the top 5 molecules to be studied. So we know the importance of it, but yet people aren't getting enough of it. And when you don't get enough of it, then you fall prey to inflammation and all of the negatives and chronic diseases that go with inflammation. What I'm about to show you right now is something where 27 of my clients in the last 5 months had dry eye and other vision challenges. And if you notice, I use the term had. They no longer have dry eye. People are starting to be able to see better than ever, than for years. What I'm sharing with you is something that everyone benefits from. And the people who believe that they are like Miss and Mr. Fitness, they are not as fit as they think, because they've never done a test. They don't know much about omega-6 to omega-3 ratios. And they may know that omega-6 causes inflammation, but what they don't know is that they're not getting enough omega-3. So I'm going to bring clarity to what all of that means right now. But first, as a food is medicine approach to it, I want you to be thinking in your mind right now, what is food as medicine? Now, as you can see on the screen, as you contemplate that question, I want you to take note of all the things that what I'm going to share with you now addresses. If you wanted to burn more fat, it will help you burn more fat. If you wanted to reduce your fatty liver, which about 50% of adults have fatty liver, and that's not a good thing, it helps with that. If you want to reduce inflammation, we're speaking to that. If you want better sleep, if you want better energy, we're speaking to that. We're speaking to dry eyes and dry skin. We're speaking to quite a few things that it almost sounds way too good to be true. But in my life's work, this is one thing that is not too good to be true. It is true. So we're going to speak to all of this. Now, when I ask you what is food as medicine is food. There are some foods that you can eat and they will help you. Hippocrates, who's considered the first medical doctor, modern day medical doctor, he's cited all the time. He has many, many, many quotes. And one of his quotes, or actually 2 of them I want to share with you, is he said, "Let food be thy medicine and medicine be thy food." He also said that all disease begins in the gut. Well, we're speaking to all of that today. And when you take a food as medicine approach to it, it helps you realize that you may not be getting what you need to optimize your personal wellness, your personal health. And that's what we're talking about. That is exactly what this is about. See, when a person does, let's say, a diet like keto, and you're primarily eating fat and protein, I don't give people a hard time because of what they're eating. My concerns is always what they're not eating. Because if you talk to a gastroenterologist and you have a very long back and forth conversation, and you ask that gastroenterologist who studies and sees the colon on a regular basis if it would be wise for you to do keto, they would say no way. Not because of what you're eating, but the fact that you're not getting enough dietary fiber from fruits and vegetables that then sets you up for long-term challenges with your personal health. So food can be our medicine. And at the same time, it helps to know what medicine is, because medicine could be that thing that can hurt you. We're talking about using food to help you. And we know that omega-3 is something that helps you. And we know that most people, around 99%, are deficient in omega-3. We know this. And how do we know? Because we do tests. And you could do the exact same test at home. And then it'll make you wonder, why isn't my doctor bringing this up? Well, they need it too. And it's not part of their training. So every nurse that's in this seminar, every doctor who's in the seminar, because we have them, they are not familiar with the importance. They may know a little bit about it, but they do not have the details that you're about to get right now. And that is how you can fix a problem that so many people are experiencing and have no idea why they're experiencing the problems that they have. And they're spending their entire life never being completely healthy, but fighting and battling with something that could have been corrected if they weren't deficient. And I'm not saying it's going to cure everything. I'm not saying that at all. I'm not even using the word cure. But what I'm saying is that I am seeing amazing outcomes as a result of people no longer being insufficient when it comes to omega-3. Okay? So as we move forward, everything I'm going to share with you is knowledge that's going to help you not harm yourself. See, as you can see to the left, you see that I have a grocery store, and then you see a minefield. Going to a grocery store today, getting food today is like walking through a minefield. Some people are buying things that they think is helping them, and it's not helping them. It's actually hurting them. We need to know how to navigate through a grocery store. And a big part of what we're doing today is putting you in a position where you're informed so then you can navigate. And that is the goal of our time today. So going back to Andrew Wild, look at the quote. He says, you can't be in optimal health if you do not have adequate intake of omega-3s. And most of us are not getting enough. Now, this is not a sales presentation. So please, I want you to know that I am not here to sell you. I am going to share with you how you can fix the problem that we all have. But I want you to gain the knowledge and understanding so that you can see the importance of doing what you can do to minimize the things that cause inflammation and to eat more or consume more of the things that's going to help reduce inflammation and put you in a position where you can win. Now, you can't really see the numbers at the bottom, but let me just dive in for a second and bring clarity to omegas. Now, if you went back to 1900, during that time, we had a ratio of 1-to-1. So the first number is for omega-6, and the second number is for omega-3. So a 1-to-1 ratio, we're talking about inside of the cell membrane. So you have trillions of cells in your body. And every one of those cells, let's say my fist is a cell, has a membrane wrapped around it. And that membrane does a whole bunch of stuff and is made up of macronutrients and various types of fatty acids, to include omega-6 and omega-3. So we're looking at something that is connected to every part of who you are, your whole being. So omega-6 to omega-3 in 1900, we're 1-to-1. By the time 1960 came about, we were like 3-to-1. And then today, people are 25 to 1, 40 to 1, 69 to 1. The highest I've seen so far is 83 to 1. That means you're completely out of balance. And again, the scary part is that you don't even know because your doctor doesn't test it. And when you're out of balance on a cellular level, certain things don't work as well. The cell membrane becomes rigid and nutrients don't easily get into the cell. And toxins that want to get out of the cells have a difficult time because you don't have enough omega-3 in your body. And we can find that out like immediately. You could go to your doctor, but it's way easier to do it through this company that we've partnered with. And I'll explain exactly how that works. Okay. So today we are out of balance. So anything that's above 3 to 1 or higher is considered out of balance. However, the World Health Organization says 5 to 1 or lower is good. Again, we're pushing 3 to 1 or lower. Most people are not low. They are in the red. And I'm going to show you what that looks like. Okay. And how easy it is to change that. Now, one of the questions that comes up all the time, and sometimes people don't throw it out there, but they're thinking it. And they go, okay, well, Robert, if we were 1 to 1 in 1900, today people are walking around 40 to 1. What does that mean? Well, when you're in the danger zone, you have increased risk of all-cause mortality. You have increased risk of heart attack and heart disease, stroke. You have increased risk of autoimmune diseases, chronic diseases. Eyesight's messed up, joints not going well, stiffness. I mean, the list goes on and on and on. And the longer we live, the more deficient we are, the more prone we are to various diseases. So it doesn't pay to be deficient. You want to make sure you are sufficient, which would be in balance. We don't want to be out of balance. So we want to reverse it. Now, I was talking to someone the other day and they said, well, Robert, if we were okay 1900, even 1960, is it that we're eating the wrong foods? And I said, no, it's not that we're eating the wrong foods, which a lot of people are. We're not getting enough of the omega-3s. And then he said, well, do I need to eat more fish? I says, it's not just about fish. I said, go back to 1900. When you ate eggs in 1900, those eggs came from pasture-raised, right, chickens. And when it's pasture-raised, that's why I buy pasture-raised eggs, you're going to have much more omega-3 in those eggs. When it's cage-free or range-free, you're going to have less omega-3. So that's number one. Number two, I eat grass-fed butter because it's much richer in omega-3s. And most people are not buying grass-fed butter. They're just eating regular butter, which is less in omega-3s. When you look at beef, I like grass-fed beef, right? Which means it's going to be higher in omega-3s. If I'm eating fatty fish, higher in omega-3s. When you have about 70% of the world, definitely United States and Canada, consuming a lot of their calories in the form of ultra-processed food, it's voided of omega-3s. So we're not getting omega-3s because we're eating far from nature. When you eat closer to nature, then you're getting more omega-3s and you wouldn't have these deficiencies like in 1960. So this is really the real take home is going to be, how do I get more omega-3s? And you could eat fish every day. And if you can do that, that's an easy, quick way to get omega-3s. If you're thinking I'll eat more flaxseed and chia seeds and things like that, it doesn't work the same. You know, it's probably reduced down to 10 to 15% of the omega-3 family being converted to usable omega-3s in the body. So I wouldn't go there either. So we want to get it through nutrition. So if you're not going to eat fish every day and you're not going to grow your own animals and eat them, then you're going to need to supplement. Otherwise, there's no way you're going to get an adequate amount of omega-3s to maximize your own personal health and well-being. So I hope that makes sense. Okay. So let's get into it now. Let's go. I'm going to go a little fast here because I'm going to touch on things that we've talked about. So omega-6, I want you to think of as something that's essential. We get too much of it. It does cause inflammation, which is not a good thing. When you look at omega-3s, it's also essential, and it's what the doctors are always talking about as far as consume more of this to reduce inflammation. So when you look at omega-6 and omega-3, you can see that the 6, the first number is for the 6, the second number is the 1, which will always be the 1. That's omega-3. If you were 3 to 1 or 2 to 1 or 1.9 to 1, you're in the safe zone, and that's where we all want to be. If you are above 3 to 1, like 20 to 1, 30 to 1, 40 to 1, 50 to 1, you are a time bomb. You are walking around in the danger zone and nobody knows. You went and did your lab work. Okay. You went and you did lab work with your doctor. You did lab work with your doctor and you've done it many times. And I guarantee you, I would be willing to bet that they did not check your ratio of omega-6 to 3. That is a medical injustice. That is a very sad thing that's happening right now. It's going to eventually change, but it's going to be a while. You want to make sure you're in balance. Otherwise, you're susceptible to many, many, many health challenges in your life. It makes it harder to lose weight. It makes it harder to do a lot of things. Many people are experiencing mental depression. Their mental health is on the line, and study after study after study has demonstrated that part of the reason for that is that they have a deficiency in omega-3. When a person dies of dementia or Alzheimer's and they do an autopsy on that person, every time they check their omega-3s, their DHA in their brain, they're insufficient. They're deficient. If you want to reduce the likelihood of being diagnosed with dementia or Alzheimer's, make sure you're sufficient when it comes to omega-3. So as you can see, omega-3s are very important and nobody's talking about it. We got people getting sick, not getting well, having a tough time. Again, insulin resistance is a big deal. And guess what? Insulin resistance, what makes it tough for a person to lose weight? A big part of that is that you are insufficient with omega-3s. Now, here's my client, Brett. Okay, so I'm going to show you what the test looks like. So Brett, good guy, lost a ton of weight, as you can see. I had him do his tests. When his test came back, he's 43 to 8. He is insufficient. He's out of balance. Now, keep in mind, he's out of balance after just losing 137 pounds. So he feels great. Well, he started using the oil because he's supplementing. And as a result of doing that, in just 4 months, 120 days, because that is the life span of a red blood cell. Because that's what we're testing. We're not testing blood serum. We're talking about your red blood cell. When we test that, 4 months later, you get another test for free. When he took the test, he's now in the green. He's no longer out of balance. And this is where we all ultimately want to be. Now, one of the coolest parts about the omegas when you are sufficient, if you're supplementing, you put yourself in a position where you optimize your health, even if you don't change the way you eat. We know this because of multiple studies. In this study right here that you can see, non-smokers with low levels of omega-3 had a similar life expectancy to smokers with a high amount of omega-3. So I'm not saying if you're smoking, keep smoking, but just make sure you supplement with omega-3. However, if you're not going to change the way you eat and you want to maximize your personal well-being and health, then you want to supplement with omega-3. It is that simple. It is that clear. So we don't guess, we test. And the test is really simple. It's a very simple test. You prick your finger. You put it on this little envelope. It dries. You put it in the mail. It goes all the way to Norway. And in 10 to 20 business days later, you get your results, and then you will know if you're in balance or if you're out of balance. And what I'm seeing again and again and again with my clients is that they are in the red and then they're in the green. And if they're not in the green fully, they're in the yellow. And then about a month later, they're in the green. Now, what makes this thing so special? If you were to go and buy an omega pill, like some drug out there or some over-the-counter supplement, you would be thinking, okay, I'm getting in my fish oil. Well, it doesn't work. And the reason why we know it's not working is because we've done tests. And whenever we do the tests on these other omegas, people are not passing. Then we have them take this supplement because it has, if you look to the left, you have the wild fish. So when you have wild fish, and it's important to know this part. Okay. So I want to take a moment, and I want you guys to really own this part. And what I mean is, if I were to go to Alaska today and I caught a salmon out of the water and I ate that salmon, bit into it, because people do that, believe it or not, I am going to get an amazing benefit from the omega-3s in that salmon. The reason is because inside of the fish, you have naturally occurring polyphenols. Polyphenols are like antioxidants, right? So when you see an orange, right, it gets its color orange because of polyphenols. When you see a red bell pepper, it gets its color because of polyphenols. So polyphenols act like antioxidants. They help reduce inflammation. They help, it's like they're part of a system in our body that helps fight off the things that can cause cancer, the things that are not good for us. So the polyphenols act like a chaperone to the omega-3s, omega-3 polyphenols, and it carries it to the cells, puts it into the tissues so it can do its job. What happens when you go to the store and just buy any omega-3 or any supplement that's a fish oil? There's no polyphenols in there. There's none. So it's a product that a lot of people in the supplement world know. I'm talking about the ones who make the money, the selling the big companies. They know it doesn't work, but you're not questioning if it works, because if you did, they would say, hey, we can do a test. Let's do a test to find out if the product works. Think of all the people who are taking a multivitamin right now. They don't even know why they're taking it. Most of them have some poor ingredients in it that actually is causing damage in their body. Far from food is medicine. When you are consuming certain things and you want to make sure it's working, hopefully there's a test, like when you do a test for vitamin D3 deficiency. Your doctor will do that test. They'll see that you're deficient. They'll tell you to go buy some vitamin D3 over the counter, or they'll prescribe it. Come back in 4 months, let's do the test again, and now you're no longer deficient. That's test-based nutrition. This is test-based nutrition. If you are taking an omega or a fish oil and you like it and you feel that it works, because I have a client whose husband thinks like this. And what's interesting is that her husband is an engineer. So he's like he thinks like a scientist, but he doesn't think like a scientist. And I say that because ego can get in the way. So what happens is I said, hey, I would like you to do the test. He says, nope, I am happy with my omega. I'm happy with my fish oil. I said, yeah, but you don't know if it's working or not. So let's do the test. And he goes, nope, I don't want to do the test because I like what I'm taking. I go, as an engineer, you don't want to do the test to find out if it's working? No. Why would he say that? Because ego, sometimes pride gets in the way for us to be humble, to surrender, to put ourselves in a situation where we can win and make wise decisions instead of ego decisions. He hasn't done the test yet, but he is. So we are making progress. And all the people that I have tested who were taking a fish oil or some type of omega, to include my mom, once we did the test, none of them passed. They were all in the danger zone. They only got into the safe zone when they changed up their omega-3s. This is food as medicine at the highest level. If you care about health at all of us, if you care at all, you must take this seriously, or you're just uninformed. You're just ignorant. And that's not being mean. That's the truth. I just learned of this product January of 2024. And what I have learned is that it is the most legit product supplement that I have ever seen in my close to 30 years experience. There are some people who their quality of life is going to improve big time just because they become sufficient with their omega-3s in their body. So at that point, I would say, okay, let's say you don't want to take a supplement. How can I do it? Again, you got to eat fish every day. And there's some pescatarians that do it. And oftentimes, whenever I will test them, they won't be fully in the green, but they're not as bad as other people that I've seen, because they literally are eating fish every day. They're snacking on sardines, but not everybody wants to eat fish every day. I would say most people don't want to eat fish every day. And it is nice to know that I can supplement what I'm not eating. That's what makes it a supplement. So it's the combination of omega-3 with polyphenols that is what makes it superior. Now, there's patented things that they do with this product, but this product is something that I believe, I mean, I can't imagine it not being in everyone's home in the next 10, 15, 20 years. Because how else are you going to get an adequate amount of omega-3s? With the lab-grown meat that they're trying to come out with all of the shifting and flipping and changing of things around nutrition, we're going to need some supplementation, because we're moving in a direction that is not going to mean that we have optimal health. So it's fascinating to me. So here's a shot of the oil. Let me just show you when I compared it to other ones that were out there. Now, the first thing I wanted to do was, well, let's put these all to the test. And when I put them all to the test, what was interesting, one, none of them had polyphenols, only the balanced oil that I endorse. And every time I did the test and somebody was using these other oils, it didn't work. So I just saved people a ton of money by saying, hey, your product isn't working. So why keep spending money thinking you're improving your health, and it's not helping you. It's not helping at all. So let me take a moment. I want you to hear from a few people. We did a little video, and the video, I just asked everybody a basic question. I said, and all these people are taking the oil. It's a short video, but I want you to watch it and just hear their words. They're not lying. They're just telling the truth. It is what it is. And then I'll come back and then we'll wrap it up.
Takes Flomax for prostate. I've been giving him the oil, and he doesn't take the pill any longer.
Wow.
Their blood pressure for both of them. I've taken off blood pressure medicine just doing the oil.
Here's to health.
Benzino.
Like, Lisa, what was the main thing for you that you noticed?
Inflammation. But dry eye is the other thing that I was going to say, but when I saw it was already mentioned, inflammation is the big one that is for me. So within a couple of months of using Balanced Oil Plus, my skin condition that I had struggled with since my teens, called keratosis pilaris, is practically gone. And I am living the best skin health that I've lived my entire adult life.
I battled with really dry skin for years and years, and especially on my face, and nothing ever worked. And I got to the point where I wasn't even wearing sunscreen because that made it worse. And after even 1 week on the Balanced Oil, my skin felt better and was more moist. And then after 1 month, it's completely gone.
My brother suffered from vertigo. After 4 months on Balanced Oil, his doctor told him his vertigo was cured. They have cleared him. It's over. My brother said this is a miracle.
Since taking the Balanced Oil, not only am I off my blood pressure medicines, which I took for 37 years, but my blood pressure is now lower than it ever was while I was on meds.
Since taking the Balanced Oil, I've noticed a huge difference in my hair growth, and it's just a lot healthier. I had lost a lot due to iron deficiency, and so it's something I struggled with, but I'm happy to say my hairstylist said it is looking amazing, so I have to give credit to the Balanced Oil.
After taking the Balanced Oil for 2 weeks, I started noticing my dry eyes going away. So now I don't use my drops at all. And I had been receiving treatment for that for over 20 years. So now I don't even need the eye drops.
Biggest thing that I noticed is mental clarity. For me, that is the number one thing, because I tried to figure it out. Ferguson got me started on it, and I was like, what can I relate that I've actually accomplished, or what's different? And that is the number one thing, and it's in the fact that my brain is a lot more calmer, because I do have that inner critic. That's part of having bad habits in your life, if you know what I mean. If I'm not going into that many words, but that inner critic is basically quieted, so it's very enjoyable at the moment.
I noticed a improvement in my skin, and it has also helped with the mental status, like anxiety.
I'm happy to say that after taking the balance oils for about 4 months, I've had an enlarged fatty liver for several years, and that it has decreased in size in just 4 months, and I'm eagerly waiting to see what the next few months is going to do.
So since I've begun taking the balance oil, I've had improvements in several of the areas spoken, but also with inflammation. I have a lot of joint pain due to autoimmune disorders, and I've not been taking any of the medicines that were prescribed to me for that pain and discomfort. And the balance oil is what I attribute to that.
All right. This is amazing. So I'm going to stop here, because I believe that I've shared what is the most important thing. And I just want to kind of summarize things for everyone. Whether you use this oil or not, you want to make sure that you are not deficient in omega-3. If you are deficient in omega-3, the likelihood, and I've seen this happen, I've personally had this happen with many people that I know over the last few years, way more susceptible when you're deficient in omega-3 to go to bed and not wake up. Blood clots is happening all the time. You want to reduce inflammation. And one of the saddest parts to all of this is that it's obvious why so many people are so sick. Now, there could be a lot of reasons, but the one common denominator is that we're insufficient when it comes to omega-3, and nobody's talking about it. So I'm asking everyone, especially those of you who are using the balance oil, and Jack LaLanne shared this with me many years ago. I think about it all the time, and I share it all the time. He says, Robert, if you're excited about something, do not keep it a secret. I'm excited when you see people have better movement, people feel better, people think better. Why would anyone keep that a secret? We must get people informed so that they better understand why they're in the situation that they're in. And there's a whole bunch of people who are really fit and lean. They look great on the outside, and they're walking around because they base their health on their weight. They base their health on what they look like. I don't know about you, but I've seen many people no longer be here who look the part, but died suddenly. Inflammation is real. Oxidative stress is real, and it's shortening quite a few people's lives. And all they had to do is be, not be deficient in omega-3. My daughter, who is 16 years old, almost 17, she started her cycle, her menstrual cycle, when she was 11 years old. And her entire life, every month, she has menstrual cramps. And oftentimes so bad that we're not able to do anything, right? We just get her comfortable, put on Netflix, and stay in the house for a day or two. My daughter has not had menstrual cramps in 4 months. Susie, who's here, her dad he was putting drops in his eyes constantly for dry eye. Almost at the point where you got to start thinking about, I may have to give up my driver's license. Well, he started using the oil. He don't need those drops anymore. It's mind-blowing what I'm seeing. And I know there's a lot of supplements out there. There's a lot of people. You can approach this with food, you guys, or you could supplement. I supplement. And I eat pretty good. But I'm supplementing with this supplement because it makes sense. So whoever told you about this seminar, if you want to do, I would say do the test and get on the oil. I strongly recommend it to everybody. Because one, when you do the test, you're going to know that you're insufficient. And then you're going to use the product for 4 months, the life of a red blood cell. And then you're going to test again. And you're going to be better. And then the more you consistently take the oil, if you're not completely in the green after 4 months, it'll be the 5th or maybe the 6th month. I have a lady, 2 ladies now. One has eczema for 35 years and another one about 40 years. Both of them have been on the oil for over 4 months, one's 5 months. No more eczema. And then I know another partner of mine, his wife had eczema for 40 years. Couldn't even get in the pool with the kids. Had to go get steroids and all these special creams. And if you go to PubMed or Google Scholar, or you go to medical journals and you look up deficiencies of omega-3, you'll see eczema. You'll see psoriasis. You'll see many skin conditions. You'll see dry eye. So when you no longer are deficient, a lot of those things disappear. That's why I gotta do this. I mean, I couldn't even imagine like stopping this. I can't imagine it. For 29 years doing seminars, meeting people all over the world. I have clients right now in 18 countries. I hear all the complaints all the time. And now the first thing I do is I look up, Google, research, what is the relationship between their illness and omega-3? And it's right there. And then all we got to do is do the test, use a supplement, see where you are in 4 months. You'll be better off. How do we know? Well, anecdotally, we know, right? Because if you don't have the same stiffness, the same dry eye, okay, those are nice signs that it's working. But we do the test. And the test is a test where, like, because people say, well, if I do the test, should I do the test, but, you know, first thing in the morning, should it be fasting? No. We're not testing what's going on in your blood. We're testing what's happening in your cells. And we can do that in the privacy of your home. All right. I'm ready for questions, and then I'll end it. I'll close this out. Okay? Because I do want to show you what the supplement looks like. And if you wanted to learn more about it, reach out to whoever told you about this seminar. Email me directly at robert@dietfreelife, and we'll point you in the right direction. But here's the deal. As you can see, the test by itself retails for $170. So the balance test is $109. And then the oil is only $42 a month, which is cheaper than most of those other oils that we know don't work. It retails at $60. But when you get the oil and the test for your first month, that's only $109. And then in 4 months, they're going to give you a free test to prove that the product is working. Do the test, use the oil, and then let's see where you are. Everybody that you know. Like if you, like, seriously, and I'm not, again, look, guys, I'm not here to, I'm selling a product because, yeah, but I also will tell you exactly how to eat. If you eat fish every day, snack on, you could do it without supplementing. You could. But I don't know if I've met anybody that's willing to do that. I mean, I do it because that's been my lifestyle. And I'm still supplementing with the balance oil. Some of you are losing hair, and it's a deficiency of omega-3. Some of you have brittle nails. It's a deficiency of omega-3. Some of you are walking around feeling inflamed. That is a deficiency of omega-3. Any other questions for me? And you know what? When you meet someone and you really from your heart, because most of my clients and people that I get to meet, and I would say all of us who are on this in this presentation, I know you care because you're here. I know you care. And if you care about yourself and you're looking to learn and to be inspired to continue your pursuit of living your best and healthiest life and navigating around all of the unhealthy stuff, that means you probably would like the idea of helping other people. The challenge is when you bring it up, most people are thinking that it's just another supplement because they're not privy to what we just experienced. They don't even understand the ratios between omega-6 and 3. Many people are out there talking about omega-6 because of seed oils. But if you avoid all omega-6, right, as far as seed oils, all those negative oils, you're still not getting enough omega-3. And if you're not getting enough omega-3, you're deficient, which opens you up to be prone for a whole bunch of health challenges that will show up. The longer you live, the sooner you will start to experience all of these negatives as a result of being deficient in omega-3. I'm done. Any questions for me? Any questions? So Jennifer asks, and I like questions. Hi, Jennifer, and thank you for being here. She says, how should I eat for the oil to effectively work? If you're taking the oil, even if you're eating Doritos and you eat like crap, you're still going to become sufficient. It hurts me to say that, but it's the truth. The problem is that we're not getting enough omega-3s. Now, if you want some nutrition advice, as we do all the time, I would say, change your oils. Make sure you're using extra virgin olive oil when you cook. Stay away from seed oils like canola oil, soybean oil. All these things are inflammatory. And do the best you can with your eating. You could work with a coach. You could reach out to me. I can connect you with a coach. I may even potentially coach you. But you have that as far as the nutrition journey, as far as what you can do as far as nutrition. But if you're supplementing, even if you eat like crap, you're going to no longer be deficient in omega-3, which means you're not vulnerable or prey to all of these chronic illnesses. So the oil, and I mean, it's so weird for me to say it every time I say it, because if I had heard someone say this 5 years ago, I would have probably stood up and walked out of the session. But this is the truth, and the data is clear. So thank you for your question. Let's see here. Charlene, what's up, Charlene? She says, great information. Well, thank you. I'm glad you made it. Then we have Susie says, Jennifer, you are about to learn. We are about to start coaching. All right. Well, if you're working with Susie, then you're in the right, you're good. So you just need to get the oil, start that, and then you're being coached. So Susie's you're taken care of. You're working with a great coach. Sharon, she said, I lost my second test before I took it. Oh, Lord. Someone was helping me clean my home and may have discarded it. Sharon, when we talk, I will help you get a test. Okay. I will help you get a test. Is that the one and only Joyce Hicks? What's up, Joyce? Joyce says, I need to get back on it. Well, girl, you just said it out loud, so you're back on it. It's all good. Let me see. I'm just searching through to see if there's any questions that I can ask. Okay, let me see here. T. Denise Kelly Jones, what's up? She says, besides salmon and sardines, what other foods and fish are high in omega-3s? Well, you could Google fish high in omega-3, but it's like your fatty fish, like mackerel, even cod, sardines, trout. Trout's one of my go-tos. Guppies, if you're in the Midwest, I love guppies, which when I go to Indiana, I'm hoping to get some of those. Very rich in omega-3. So fatty fish will be high in omega-3s. Great question. Thank you very much. Let's see. She says, what do we look out for in fish? Our farm-raised salmon, great question, have a sufficient amount of omega-3s, or do we need Pacific Northwest wild caught salmon? I'm a wild guy. Every once in a while, or if I'm eating out, I know it's farm. There's omega-3s in farm, but they're not eating algae like the wild fish are eating algae. And that's where they get the omega-3s from. Farm-raised fish, they're given pellets, they're eating soy. So there's going to be a reduced amount of omega-3 because they're not eating omega-3s. They're being fed things that are primarily made up of omega-6, which causes inflammation. So with that knowledge right there, think about it. Someone goes out to eat, they order salmon, it's farm raised, and they think, yeah, I'm going to reduce my inflammation. I'm going to feel good. I'm eating healthy, not knowing that they're eating something that has a good amount of omega-6 in it. Yeah, it's salmon, but it's the wrong salmon. They just don't know. So this is where all of us being informed and having additional knowledge puts you in a much better place. Nutrition education is king. It really is. Because if you don't know, you don't know. And it's like what I said earlier, when you go to a grocery store, it's like walking through, a minefield. You believe it's helping you, but it may be causing more damage than it is causing good, which is so unfortunate. Okay, I think we're good. So thank you. I went longer than I wanted to go. Every Thursday, I am going to do a presentation like this. Same time. It'll be capped at 30 minutes. So we'll start on time. But if you know anyone, encourage them to tune in. And we'll be making available links. And everyone who came in, if you meet me for the first time, I will be taking your email and adding it to our newsletter. So whenever we put on these events, you'll be informed then. And if you have any questions, just shoot me an email or reach out to the person who told you about this event tonight. Okay. I'm Robert Ferguson. I share because I care. Again, I'm introducing you to a product like no other. And more importantly, I want you to be informed when it comes to the importance of the omega-6 to 3 ratio. When you see your doctor, ask them about it. And they'll comment on it. They'll go, yeah, we should be, but they're not even testing for it. They're not even testing. Because, let me just say, if they test it, okay, let's say you went in and your doctor surprised you and says, hey, we're going to do an omega-3 index test. You go, oh, okay, great. I just went to the seminar, met this guy, Robert Ferguson. He was talking about it. Oh, man, this is great. When the test comes back, it's just going to have numbers. They're not going to explain anything. Because if they had to explain something, they would have to give you either a prescription where they can make money, or they got to really sit down with you and draft out and guide you on a nutrition plan. That's not what they're going to do. They don't spend that kind of time. That ain't going to happen. And there's nothing they can prescribe. Because if they prescribe it and then they do the test again and you're still deficient, we got a problem. Even someone who lacks aptitude, comprehension, they're going to obviously go, wait a minute, we got a problem here. I'm taking this prescription. Nothing's happening. But then again, I see it happen with blood pressure all the time. They just keep trying different blood pressure pills, and you guys know that happens, hoping that one day it's going to help. Crazy. Everyone that you talk to tonight, everyone that you talk to tomorrow, every person you see at church, they're all deficient in omega-3. This is crazy. And some of them, look at if someone has MS. I know people with MS and they don't even know there's a connection between omega-3 and MS. Their doctor has not told them about that. I know people who are depressed and they don't know the connection between omega-3 and depression and mental health. I know people talking about gut health and they don't know that omega-3 is a prebiotic that improves your gut health. And they don't know that polyphenols is a prebiotic that improves your gut health. This is all in one. And it can't even be argued. You can go to the store today and get in an argument with 5 people who has the best multivitamin. But there's no test to prove that you have the best multivitamin. Then you have those people say, oh, well, we customize our vitamins. Okay, you customize them for what? You customize them based on that moment in time? Because if you draw my blood at that moment in time, then at that moment in time, okay, we can look and see certain things. But the next day, I'm a different person based on what I ate. The gut microbiome, for instance, it takes 24 hours to change it. 24 hours. What I eat today plays a huge role in what my gut microbiome will be tomorrow. I mean, come on. All right. Anyway, I got to get out of here. Did I miss anything? Peanut butter. Okay, let me see here. Yes, many stores have peanut butter with just peanuts, and some have salt. Yep, that's true. All right, so I'm going to end on one last thing. Okay, someone said, Pam asked, no palm oil. I'm not against palm oil. Palm oil is part of the fruit oils, right? Avocados are fruit oil. Palm oil is a fruit oil. Coconut is a fruit oil. Olives is a fruit oil, right? The seed oils, the vegetable oils are the ones you want to avoid. Canola oil, safflower oil, sunflower oil, soybean oil. Those things are on a rise constantly. They're in everything. But if you go to Africa, they use palm oil. Palm oil is like a staple there. Now, if you want to protect orangutans, I've heard that, a good way to help the, orangutans from being kicked out of where they live in the Amazon is to not buy anything that has palm oil in it. Outside of that, palm oil is great. Yeah, I don't see a problem with it. Okay, so last thing, I'm going to let you guys go. Menopause. I have shared over the years that there was a study done that demonstrated, this was a placebo-controlled randomized trial study, meaning people got a placebo and then people got the real deal. And what the real deal was a half cup of edamame beans every day. And after a very short period of time, I think it was upwards to 12 weeks when they did the first evaluation, the people who were consuming the half cup of edamame beans reduced their menopausal symptoms by 90%. Now, when I looked into that, and here's the connection why I'm bringing this up. Edamame beans are really high in omega-3. So was it the omega-3 that helped reduce the symptoms? Or was it the edamame beans? I believe it's the omega-3. If you know anybody that lives in a nursing home, assisted living, every person in those places would benefit from the balance oil because they don't want dementia. They don't want Alzheimer's. Neuroscientists are saying right now that if you are not deficient in omega-3, you reduce the risk of Alzheimer's by 50%. That's significant. You can't make this stuff up. And nobody's talking about it. It should be everywhere. Everywhere. Anyway, I find that extremely interesting. All right, you guys. I'm Robert Ferguson. Again, I share because I care. I'm going to leave us out. And the replay is there. So if you want to refresh or whatever, come back, you can watch it again. But then next Thursday, I'm going to shift the focus a little bit, but it's still going to be a food as medicine conversation. So this week we talked about omega-3 and the importance of omega-3s with polyphenols. Next week is going to be a little different. I'm always going to make this where it's brought to you by Balance Oil, because this is a product that everyone benefits from. Everyone. Kids and adults. Okay. Into the next one. Peace.
In a world of tanks, there's a new way to see. No more counting calories, just living free. Robert Ferguson's got the plan you need. With diet-free life, it's the key. No more starving, getting rid of inflammation. choosing healthy choices, providing you with sound information, bringing balance to hormones and insulin through food. With DFL, teaching you food choices that see you through. DFL, we're teaching you to eat food